There's something hauntingly mesmerizing about places frozen in time, silent, decaying, and completely off-limits. These eerie locations aren't just abandoned. They've been swallowed by nature, sealed by tragedy, or locked away due to, let's say, pretty, dangerous secrets. Unlike a museum, where history is preserved behind glass, these places are left to rot, their stories whispered only by crumbling walls and creeping shadows. From forgotten cities to luxury resorts overtaken by nature, these 15 abandoned places are as chilling as they are forbidden. And trust us, you won't be stepping inside anytime soon. Let's start off this spine-chilling journey with number 15, Pripyat, Chernobyl. A single hotel being abandoned, that's one thing. But an entire city? That's next-level eerie. Pripyat was once a bustling Soviet town built in the 1970s for workers of the nearby Chernobyl nuclear plant. With over 49,000 residents, it had schools, parks, and even a Ferris wheel. But everything changed in 1986 when the Chernobyl disaster struck, forcing a full-scale evacuation. Decades later, the city stands frozen in time, an apocalyptic ghost town where rusting playgrounds, decaying buildings, and an abandoned gymnasium serve as haunting reminders of the catastrophe. While some areas are now open for guided tours, large parts remain dangerously radioactive. Scientists estimate it'll be another 20,000 years before it's safe for human habitation. Maybe, just maybe, our distant descendants will walk its streets one day, assuming we don't wipe ourselves out first with AI, nukes, or whatever new horror we cook up next. Number 14, Craco, Italy. Perched high on a rugged hilltop in southern Italy, the medieval village of Craco looks like something out of a fantasy novel, until you realize it's completely abandoned. Founded in the 8th century, Craco survived plagues, wars, and centuries of turmoil. But nature proved to be its ultimate downfall. Frequent earthquakes and landslides made the town increasingly unstable, forcing evacuations over time. The final blow came in 1991 when the last remaining residents packed up and left, turning Craco into a ghost town overnight. Now, its cracked walls and crumbling homes serve as an eerie reminder of what once was. But don't think it's been entirely forgotten. Craco has been a filming location for movies like The Passion of the Christ and welcomes visitors through guided tours. It's haunting, picturesque, and an unsettling testament to how quickly a thriving town can be lost to time. Well, you can visit it, but don't say we didn't warn. Number 13, Deception Island, Antarctica. A place called Deception Island is bound to have a haunting backstory. Tucked away in Antarctica's icy waters, this volcanic caldera was once a hub for whaling operations in the early 20th century. Rusted tanks, abandoned boats, and even a whaler's cemetery still litter its shores, whispering tales of an industry long gone. But it wasn't just economic decline that drove people away. Volcanic eruptions repeatedly forced evacuations, leaving behind ghostly research stations frozen in time. Today, Deception Island is a contradiction. Bleak, abandoned ruins against a backdrop of stunning wildlife. Tourists, mostly arriving via Silversea cruises, can explore the crumbling remnants while chin-strap penguins waddle nearby. Thanks to geothermal activity, the island also has naturally warm waters, making it one of the few places in Antarctica where you can take a dip, if you don't mind the eerie silence of a place that nature refused to let humans keep. Number 12, Kennecott Milltown, Alaska. Buried deep within Alaska's Wrangell St. Elias National Park, Kennecott Milltown is a frozen-in-time relic of America's industrial age. From 1911 to 1938, this remote settlement processed around $200 million worth of copper, boasting its own hospital, school, and post office. But once the copper was gone, so was the town. The most striking remnant is the 14-story concentration mill, a massive red wooden structure that looms over the Alaskan wilderness like a forgotten monument to human ambition. Unlike most abandoned places, Kennecott hasn't been left to rot completely. Guided tours bring its history to life, allowing visitors to step inside and experience the eerie stillness of a town that once buzzed with activity. Since it's only accessible from Memorial Day to Labor Day, timing is everything. Now listed on the National Register of Historic Places, Kennecott stands as both a haunting ghost town and a reminder of the boom and bust cycle that shaped American history. Number 11. Fordlandia, Brazil. Leave it to Henry Ford to think he could build an American industrial utopia in the middle of the Amazon. In 1927, he launched Fordlandia, a planned city designed to produce rubber for his booming automobile empire. It had everything: neatly designed bungalows, swimming pools, a golf course, even a dance hall. But there was just one problem. Ford's vision didn't quite match reality. His strict no-alcohol policies clashed with local workers, and the rubber trees, planted in the wrong soil, refused to cooperate. By 1930, tensions reached a breaking point. Frustrated workers revolted, smashing buildings and tossing cars into the river, forcing Ford's managers to flee into the jungle. Eventually, the project was abandoned, leaving behind a decaying ghost town swallowed by the rainforest. Today, its crumbling structures stand as a stark reminder that even the biggest dreams can collapse under the weight of reality. Would you like to visit this place? Number 10. St. George's Church. This one's got some serious horror movie vibes. Built in the 14th century, St. George's Church stood as a place of worship for centuries, until 1968, when disaster struck. During a funeral service, the roof collapsed, spooking the locals into believing the church was cursed. Many refused to step foot inside again, opting to hold services outdoors instead. Over the years, the abandoned church crumbled further, but just when it seemed doomed to obscurity, local artist Jakub Hadrava stepped in with an eerie twist. He filled the pews with 32 life-sized ghostly sculptures draped in white shrouds. The effect? Utterly chilling. Today, visitors travel from all over to experience the haunting sight of silent, faceless figures sitting in the dimly lit ruins. If you're brave enough, you can visit on Sundays. But don't be surprised if you feel a pair of invisible eyes watching you. Number 9. Chateau Miranda. Chateau Miranda is the definition of Gothic grandeur turned ghostly ruin. Built in 1866 for the Liedekerke de Beaufort family, who fled their previous home during the French Revolution, it had all the makings of a fairy tale castle. But reality had other plans. Over the years, it served as an orphanage and even a holiday camp for sick children before being abandoned in 1991 due to skyrocketing maintenance costs. Left to decay, its crumbling turrets and ivy-covered walls made it a dream for urban explorers, not to mention a haunting set piece for the TV series Hannibal. But time wasn't kind. In 2017, the once majestic structure was partially demolished, taking much of its eerie charm with it. For those who visited before its downfall, it was a stark reminder that even the most opulent creations can't outrun time. Would you have dared to step inside? Number 8. Rubjerg Knude Lighthouse, Denmark. If ever there was proof that nature always wins, it's the Rubjerg Knude Lighthouse. Perched on a sand dune high above Denmark's North Sea, this lighthouse was first lit in 1900, standing far from the coastline. But nature had other plans. Over the decades, relentless winds and shifting sands swallowed the surrounding landscape, forcing the lighthouse to shut down in 1968. For a while, it functioned as a quirky museum and coffee shop, because who wouldn't want a latte with their coastal erosion? But by 2002, even that was no longer feasible. In a last-ditch effort to save it, Engineers pulled off an incredible feat in 2019, moving the entire structure over 200 feet inland using iron plates and wheels. Now, visitors can walk along the beach and admire the resilient landmark, a symbol of human ingenuity battling the unstoppable forces of nature. Number 7. City Hall Subway Station, New York City. Deep beneath the streets of Manhattan lies one of New York's most stunning secrets. Opened in 1904 as part of the city's first subway system, the City Hall station was a masterpiece of design. Vaulted tile ceilings, intricate mosaics, and elegant chandeliers that wouldn't look out of place in a ballroom. It operated until 1945, when its curved platform and proximity to larger stations led to its closure. But unlike most abandoned places, this one hasn't been left to decay. The New York Transit Museum offers exclusive guided tours for $50, but there's a catch. You have to be a museum member, and tickets sell out fast. For those who miss out, there's a sneaky way to catch a glimpse. Stay on the 6 train as it loops back uptown. In simple words, it's a blink and you'll miss it view, but trust us, it's worth it. All right, guys, now, let's head over to Number 6. The Great Train Graveyard, Bolivia. Just outside Uyuni, Bolivia, an eerie sight stretches across the desert. Dozens of rusting locomotives abandoned to the elements. This train graveyard is the remains of an ambitious railway network designed to transport minerals in the late 19th century. But when Bolivia's mining industry collapsed, so did the dream of a thriving rail system, leaving more than 100 train cars to corrode under the Andean sun. Over time, salt from the nearby Salar de Uyuni and relentless winds have turned these once mighty engines into skeletal husks. Today, the site is an unofficial stop for travelers heading to the salt flats, offering a surreal mix of history and decay. The graffiti-covered trains scattered across the barren landscape feel like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie, proof that even the strongest machines can't outrun time. Number 5. Lago di Racia, Lake Retian, Bell Tower. You've probably scrolled past a photo of this one without even realizing the real story behind it. Rising eerily from the icy waters of Lake Retian is a lonely 14th century bell tower, seemingly floating on the surface. But beneath the lake, an entire village. In the 1950s, an Italian dam project merged 2 lakes, submerging the town of Curon and displacing hundreds of residents. While most of the village was lost, the bell tower remained as a ghostly monument to what once was. In winter, when the lake freezes over, visitors can actually walk right up to it, making for some breathtakingly surreal photos. But beyond the Instagram-worthy aesthetics, there's an undeniable sadness to it. The silent reminder of an entire community erased in the name of progress. Number 4. Bannerman Castle, New York. If you've ever taken the Metro North Hudson train, you've probably caught a glimpse of this crumbling fortress perched on a tiny island. Bannerman Castle wasn't built for royalty, but for business. Scottish immigrant Francis Bannerman VI constructed it in the early 1900s as a military surplus warehouse. Its grand design and bold Bannerman's Island Arsenal lettering made it an odd sight along the Hudson River. But trouble followed. After Bannerman's death in 1918, the castle fell into neglect, and a massive explosion in 1920, caused by, you guessed it, ammunition, left it partially destroyed. Decades of weathering and decay transformed it into a Gothic ruin straight out of a ghost story. Today, the Bannerman Castle Trust offers hard hat tours from May to October, where visitors can walk its eerie remains while hearing tales of its explosive past. For history buffs and urban explorers, it's a must-see. Just don't expect a fairy tale ending. Number 3. Gereja Ayam, Indonesia. Hidden in the jungles of central Java stands one of the most bizarre abandoned structures in the world, Gereja Ayam, or the Chicken Church. The story? In the 1990s, Daniel Alamzia claimed he had a divine vision to build a place of worship shaped like a dove. But when the structure was completed, it looked, well, a lot more like a chicken. The nickname stuck. Meant to serve as an all-faith worship center and rehabilitation facility, the project ran out of funds in 2000, leaving the beak-faced structure abandoned. But here's the twist. Gereja Ayam has since become an accidental tourist attraction. Visitors can climb inside, admire murals on the walls, and take in panoramic views of the jungle from the beak. There's even a small cafe near the tail feathers, because why not? Equal parts eerie and whimsical, the Chicken Church is a monument to faith, ambition, and the kind of design choices that make you say, wait, what? Number 2. Haludovo Palace Hotel. Hotels come and go, but few ever match the sheer extravagance of the Haludovo Palace on Croatia's largest island, Krk. When it opened in 1972, it wasn't just a hotel. It was a high roller's paradise. Funded in part by Penthouse magazine founder Bob Guccione, the resort was dripping in excess. Gambling, caviar, champagne, and even a private club for the ultra-wealthy. Tennis courts, bowling lanes, and a sprawling pool, now eerily empty, completed the picture of pure opulence. But the party didn't last. When the Yugoslav wars erupted in the early 90s, the hotel shut its doors, later becoming a refugee shelter before falling into complete ruin. Today, shattered glass and creeping vines have taken over, turning the once glamorous getaway into a ghost of its former self. While curiosity seekers still sneak peeks at its eerie remains, don't expect an official tour anytime soon. If you don't have anything special to do in life, you can visit. Number 1, Salina Turda Salt Mine. Now, this place, it's straight up wild. Salina Turda, a vast underground salt mine in Transylvania, dates back to the Middle Ages. For centuries, miners chipped away at its depths. But when the mining stopped in the early 20th century, something unexpected happened. It was transformed into a subterranean amusement park. Yes, you read that right. Deep underground, visitors can now find a Ferris wheel, bowling lanes, and even an underground boating lake. The mine also houses a museum showcasing the grueling labor that once took place there, blending history with a futuristic, almost sci-fi atmosphere. And the best part? It's ridiculously cheap. Just $10 for adults and $7 for kids. Whether you're in it for the eerie history or the bizarre attractions, Salina Turda is easily one of the most surreal abandoned places you can still visit. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.